Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Today is an exciting day. It's the first day that I am going to do a podcast going over the Just for Today meditation from Narcotics Anonymous. I will not probably always do the NA meditation. I will sometimes use the one day at a time from AA. As you know, I love meditations. I love prayer. I love prayer and meditation. And I love recovery. And I love people that are interested in recovery. It really embodies who I am. And I believe it has a lot to do with my purpose, right? I have a way of bringing hope to individuals that are still suffering, that are struggling. And I know a lot about that. I'm so excited to be with you. I don't want to take a lot of time this morning. I want to get into the Just for Today meditation. What you see on the screen is the program that I am running for the Hope Through Navigation Agency. It's called the H.O.O.D Recovery Services, and H.O.O.D stands for Hope Offered on Demand. And I'm looking forward to developing that program. I'm looking forward to the day when an individual can go to their phone and receive a live voice to talk to, which you can do. There's plenty of 1-800 numbers, right? So there's plenty of live voices, but I'm looking forward to the point, to the day, when my voice will be one of the live voices that an individual can reach. I am going to be offering meetings. I'm going to be offering one-on-one discussions. I am available to help individuals, regardless to what program they come from, discuss the application of the 12 steps in their lives. I'm interested in being available to help individuals with that. That is more of a schedule an appointment and meet me at one of our recovery homes, and we can go over it in person, or we can do it on Zoom, or we can do it on, I think Google Hangout is one of the ones that I'm looking forward to developing. So there's many options, right? We don't want to be stuck on necessarily how we do it. We want to make sure that we do it, right? Because we know as recovering individuals coming into the program of Narcotics Anonymous, we know that we must recover, right? Not using drugs comes first, but after we stop using drugs, after we stop, right? There's so many different things that can come up, and we're just not used to facing these things free of influence of a substance, right? We go through work, and when we get off work, we want to do happy hour. We go through arguments with our spouses or our mates, raising children. There's a lot of things that we're used to doing under the influence of a substance. But what happens is that, as they say in AA, they say the man takes a drink, then the drink takes a drink, and then the drink takes the man, right? And I hope you're not offended by me referring to AA in any kind of way, because we know in Narcotics Anonymous, alcohol is a drug. So we don't want to be stuck on that. We just understand that when we go to those particular meetings of the Mother Fellowship, right? Let's call it what it is. It's the Mother Fellowship. And we know that when we go to those meetings, they insist most of the time on a certain terminology. And that's fine. That's fine. I can be respectful when I'm in those meetings, right? And I can adhere to their format. But in reality, we don't want to be confused about what alcohol is. Alcohol is a drug, right? It changes the way we think and the way that we behave. It alters us mentally. So we don't want to be caught up on terminology. That's not going to serve us any purpose. But we know in Narcotics Anonymous, all individuals are welcome. Do we want individuals to use such terms as recovery and addiction and addicts? Absolutely, because we want to carry a clear message of what Narcotics Anonymous is and not distinguish among drugs. And that's one of the beautiful things about Narcotics Anonymous that I love. I love the fact that Narcotics Anonymous does not distinguish. In many formats of the meetings for NA, ask their members to not speak about any specific drug. People do it all the time. But once you start mentioning your specific drug of choice, individuals, it can trigger individuals, but individuals start to try to figure out where they are compared to you. Are they better or worse? And we know in Narcotics Anonymous, we say there are no big I's or little U's. Okay, let's get started. Today, I'm going to share a screen. And after I share that screen, I'm going to read for you I am going to read for you the Just for Today meditation. Let's downsize that a little bit, get everything out the way so I can actually do this for you. And this is the online version made available through NA World Services. And so I'm going to read that to you, okay? All right. I want to move this a little bit more. We'll leave it just where it is so I can get started, okay? All right, let's go ahead and take a moment of silence followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer and set our minds on this meditation for today, okay? Moment of silence now. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I just love that serenity prayer. I love it. I need that every day of my life. I hope you do too. Here's the title for the Just for Today meditation for March 6th, Rationalizing Away Our Recovery, page 68. As a result of the 12 steps, I am not able to hold on to old ways of deceiving myself. It says, we all rationalize. Sometimes we know we are rationalizing. Admit we are rationalizing, yet continue to behave according to our rationalizations. Recovery can become very painful when we decide that for one reason or another, the simple principles of the program don't apply to us. With the help of our sponsor and others in NA, we can begin to look at the excuses we use for our behavior. Do we find that some principles just don't apply to us? Do we believe that we know more than everyone else in Narcotics Anonymous, even those who have been clean for many years? What makes us think that we're so special? There's no doubt we can successfully rationalize our way through part of our recovery, but eventually we must squarely face the truth and start acting accordingly. The principles in the 12 steps guide us to a new life in recovery. There's little room for rationalization there. Just for today, I cannot work the steps and also continue deceiving myself. I will examine my thinking for rationalizations, reveal them to my sponsor, and be rid of them. That's a beautiful meditation. I enjoy that. One of the things about rationalizing, right? Rationalizing, excuse me. Oh, I'm tongue-tied. I need more coffee. Okay, so the one thing about rationalizing is that there's times when you really truly may not see that you're doing it. You may have some form of true, absolute denial going on about whatever it is you're talking about, right? Or you could be rationalizing unintentionally because you have less information and you don't have all of the information that you need in order to come to the truth about how to see it, right? Because my truth, right? My truth is if I'm looking at a particular situation, even if I don't verbalize it, I've already made a judgment within my own mind about that situation, right? And ultimately, I'm either looking for others to act on a situation or I'm looking for me to act or not act on a situation. And a lot of times when I don't push the button, right, I don't reset or I don't make matters right, it's not necessarily that I have this evil intent, right? To be mean or to disregard. Maybe there's some pieces of information that are missing. And based on the information that I have, which is incomplete information or misinformation, I am making a judgment based on that. So there are some legitimate times where an individual will excuse themselves from responding a certain way, not because they want to be irresponsible or rationalize intentionally, but because they just don't have all of the moving pieces in order to make the right decision. That's why people say knowledge is power, right? That's why people say educate yourselves, each one teach one, right? So that people can have more information to be able to make the decisions that they need to make. All right. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the times where we know that we're rationalizing something, we are admitting that we're rationalizing, and we refuse to change our behavior. We continue to behave, as it says here, according to our rationalizations. What is going on when that happens? When a person is holding on to an old way of thinking that gives them a pass or makes them feel superior or justified in whatever they're displaying, right? Their behavior, say it's anger. You know that so and so has you fed up, you're tired of what's going on with them, but you still have not gotten the courage to talk to them directly. You've gossiped about them, character assassinated them with people even in the fellowship. You've talked your sponsor's ear off about them. You may have contacted family members about them, right? You are still rationalizing. You're rationalizing your behavior, saying to yourself in so many words, I'm right, they're wrong, they need to come to me and apologize. And you know you played a part in it. You know that, let's say maybe you didn't follow through with a commitment, which caused them to start treating you distantly, right? And they said some things to you about your lack of responsibility as far as following through with your commitments. And you're jawed and you have an attitude with how they said it. How dare she talk to me like that? I'm not a child, right? I'm just trying to give you ideals of how we can sometimes excuse our behavior or rationalize our behavior, know that we're rationalizing, admit that we're rationalizing, and have absolutely no intention of changing our behavior. I don't know about you, but when I think about that, I think about a step one. That's the first step I need to apply when I am rationalizing, right? I need to be able to admit that I'm powerless. Now, not over the drug, right? I'm not talking about the drug right now, but that I'm powerless over people, places, and things. And then when I'm talking about the step two, I have come to believe that I can be restored to sanity. I do not have to meet their behavior with the same behavior or a level of rationalizing my unwillingness to communicate with them how I am being affected or to even admit my wrong to them. Yes, I admit, I told you I'd be there at the coffee shop at 1, and I called you at 1:05 and said, I'm running late. You asked me how many more minutes do I need? And I told you, give me 10 minutes. And you're still sitting there 45 minutes later. I admit that I should have gotten back in touch with you and apologized and said, I just can't make it. Can we reschedule? I should have done that, but I didn't. And the reason that I didn't was because I didn't value your time. I valued my time, and I thought everything's it. I was being self-centered, right? That's self-centeredness, right? So how do I change that? Well, you make a commitment to stop being like that, and you stop being like that. You stop making commitments back to back, knowing that you can't do everything on time. You give yourself some leeway, right? You stop rationalizing your behavior. And so you check me on it. And instead of me admitting to you that I'm wrong and apologizing and asking for forgiveness, I'm like, how dare you talk to me like that? Are you serious? You ain't my mom, right? So what I'm doing is trying to give you an idea of a very simple situation where we're not applying the principles of recovery. This reading today indicated that we would be able to either stay where we are, think the way we think, maintain our rationalizations, or work the steps and apply the spiritual principles of the steps. It's impossible to truly have an impartation and understanding of the 12 steps and the spiritual principles that go with that and continue to do the things the old way. You know, I attend this one meeting. It's a meeting at 9 a.m. on Zoom. And I attend this meeting not every morning, because generally the meeting is starting at the same time that I need to report to work. Okay. So I'm not there all the time, but I love it when this one particular gentleman shares. And he always says, you know, welcome to the newcomer. And as we say here, grab yourself a seat and sit all the way down. Right? That can have so many different meanings. But to me, what that means is if I am coming into the program of Narcotics Anonymous, and only if just staying clean or free from drugs and the chaos that came with it is, you know, that hustle for the drug, right? That's what I'm talking about. If that's my only intention, reason for being here, then don't work any steps. Nobody's going to force steps down your throat. You don't have to work the steps. We suggest that you work the steps, and we suggest that you do it with a sponsor, not alone. Okay. So when he says, grab yourself a seat and sit all the way down, to me, what that means is get busy. Get busy with your recovery. Find a sponsor, Start making meetings, if possible, every day, 90 and 90. And now with the Zoom platform, you can make meetings all over. And even there was an app that you could download on your phone called, this is before the pandemic, called In the Rooms. It's like a tree, it's blue and rustic kind of background, but it's a tree and you can look for that. It's called In the Rooms. And they have people that show up and actually use this platform to do the same thing that we're doing with Zoom. And they do it right from their home. They have no idea who's going to join the meeting. People can raise their hand in a sense to be able to share, and then they end the meeting and they go on with their merry lives. So there's no excuse for not being able to make a meeting. If you socially need to be in the presence of other people, there's face-to-face meetings you can make. For me, the Zoom platform has allowed me to make a meeting every day and sometimes several times a day. And when I make a meeting on this platform, I have a couple things in mind. One, I'm going to listen for 1 hour. I'm going to have my camera on and I am going to listen to other people share for 1 hour. After that hour, if I have a need to share, I will raise my hand. But if I don't, right, I'm free to go or continue to listen. But I make sure I get in my seat, right, my little square, and I sit all the way down with the camera open and paying attention to the people that share. And I've been doing that every day for, I don't even know how long now, since 2020. I've been doing that every day, making a meeting every day. And again, I'm back to volunteering or doing service work, is how we say it in recovery, on several meetings, hosting, right? And so I just want to encourage everyone. I want to tell you today that in regards to the Just for Today, you can continue to rationalize if you want your behavior, or you can grab a seat and sit all the way down and be about the change. Because it's through the principles of the 12 steps. It said, as a result of the 12 steps, I can no longer continue to deceive myself, right? Isn't that what it said? It said something like that. Let's look at it again. Let's take the time to look at it again. Okay. As a result of the 12 steps, I'm not able to hold on to old ways of deceiving myself. That sounds like self-love to me. That sounds like an individual that has had a spiritual awakening and on different levels, right? But they've had a spiritual awakening to being restored to sanity, to being able to love themselves today and others, to be able to serve others as well as themselves. Because the 12th step, that 12th step says that having had a spiritual awakening, we try to carry this message to the still suffering addict and practice these principles in all of our affairs, right? So the 12 steps, it's like a living document. It's like a constitution, right, for recovering individuals. These 12 steps and 12 traditions and 12 concepts of service, specifically, we're talking about the 12 steps, embody spiritual principles. And if you write the steps and work them out with your sponsor, they give you what I believe is a bulletproof way of living your life day to day. Many people are able to do it in the church. Many people do it in the mosque. Many people do it in the cathedral, right? Many people do it in the synagogue. Far as finding a system of belief, an ideology that allows them to live spiritual principles out with individuals in their own life and with others. In recovery, this is the gift that we've been given. And it is precise. It is precise. The spiritual principles that are given to us through the steps, through each step, and with all of the literature we've been given, there's room for error, but very little, right? People make mistakes. You fall, but you get back up. You don't stay down, right? And so this is something that really, I believe people that come in here and they just stay clean and they don't get into their step work, it's like cutting themselves off, right? It says here in closing, just for today, I cannot work the steps and also continue deceiving myself. I will examine my thinking for rationalizations, reveal them to my sponsor, and be rid of them. Be rid of them. You no longer have to live the way that you were living. You have been given a map. You have been given a GPS, a spiritual GPS that doesn't force you to have any particular higher power or even a higher power, right? So we're not talking about religion here. This is a universal program that everyone can apply. Now we say sometimes they sure do need a program. Yeah, they do, but they're not addicts seeking recovery. We are. And so with that, I hope that you have received some benefit from going over the Just for Today meditation for March 6th, 2022. This is MightyStream, and I am offering hope on demand. I am so excited to be with you today. You have a beautiful day. Make it a beautiful day. Wow, we got some warm weather here in southern Michigan, southwest Michigan. Go out and walk, take a walk, enjoy your day, breathe some fresh air, join Planet Fitness, go to the gym, eat right. Just take the bull by the horns and make it beautiful. Make it beautiful. You take care. I'll see you tomorrow.